Hardest things in the world to do is to learn to play quickly without being in a hurry. It takes freshmen a while sometimes.
Julius Hodge, the highest rated recruit coming into the ACC this year. Here's Miller again. His shot was partially blocked. There's Hodge. And Powell follows. Josh Powell, the freshman.
Now that was an air ball, and Hodge did a great job going up there to get it. And it doesn't matter what defense you're in. Once the offense gets that first rebound, it's very difficult to block him out for the second and third time.
Again, NC State showing pressure.
Man-to-man pressure that time handled pretty effectively by the Citadel. And Joseph is the guy doing a lot of the ball handling.
Wilson inside to Washburn. Washburn, nice post move.
Washburn, a great big body in there, about 6'8", 230 or so.
Had 17 points and 9 rebounds in the opener.
Actually 250 or so, so he's a big guy.
Powell inside, and Greg Jones with nice defense for the Citadel. Here's Joseph to Wilson.
Man-to-man for North Carolina State.
Greg Jones will turn around.
Oh, wow.
Is Josh Powell playing early or what? Wow.
It was a very impressive looking rebound right there.
Indeed it was.
Would have been better if he kicked the outlet pass out a little quicker so he could get a fast break before the Citadel got down on defense. Citadel in that 2-3 zone. Thus far they've been able to limit North Carolina State to outside shots. And they're making the Wolfpack take some time off the shot clock.
Grundy inside, follows his own shot. Anthony Grundy's got 4.
And that is the second time that North Carolina State has scored as a result of the offensive rebound. Your defense doesn't end until you have the ball. You better be able to rebound it.
Michael Joseph, head to Washburn.
Well, usually you don't want guys in the 50s dribbling the ball out at half court.
Not when they're your center. Cantrell, he's had a 3.
Now he's playing up against Anthony Grundy right now. Grundy, a fine defensive player.
Eric Wilson's pass, just a little past Travis Cantrell. We're early. NC State out to a lead 9-5, 15-20 left to play first half.
Key to that whole deal. Now, their intensity pretty good so far. They've got 3 offensive rebounds to the Wolfpack, and as a result, they've got 4 points off those 3 rebounds. Man-to-man now for the Citadel, coming out of the timeout, trying to show the Wolfpack a different look.
Inside pass to Powell. There's Archie Miller driving on Wilson, and there's a whistle and a foul. It's going to be on Eric Wilson, who gets his first start tonight. Wilson has been in a battle with Kenny Milford for that starting point guard job, and Wilson getting the call tonight.
And Wilson wearing those goggles, a fractured eye socket in preseason practice, and wearing those goggles for protection. Back to the zone defense. Go the Bulldogs.
And it's Marcus Melvin. Misses everything. Second long-range shot the big guy for NC State has attempted. Here's Washburn. And Powell is there, but on his back was Greg Jones.
Powell is one of those guys who is such a great leaper, and he's so aggressive that sometimes he goes after the ball without blocking out his man. And there's a lot of people to call that time, but usually you'd like to find your guys and put a body on them and then go after the ball.
The early field goal story. Citadel not shooting bad. Here's Powell, turn around. That's a tough shot. And it's Jones who has been strong on the boards for the Citadel early.
They sure have. Cliff Washburn, 6'7", 248-pound center, has done a nice job getting himself some space inside. Number 54 in blue, the good catch, the spin move, and that big body just knocks Marcus Melvin out of the way, and he's able to convert. Now here he's got Powell, and Powell not nearly as big. This is just a great job getting position inside, then the quick move in, and that is a very difficult shot, that jump hook. But what you saw in both situations is
scramble for the ball, turnover, ball to NC State. Good defense by Archie Miller.
Miller, a very fine defensive player, moved his feet very well, snatched the ball away from Milford. 5 turnovers now for the Citadel. Boy, you'd hope to do a better job of that in your half-court offense.
Scooter Sherrill gonna pass it inside, and there's a foul on Romas Cryonis.
And that time, I think you saw the strategy that we'll see more of from NC State. Coming out of that timeout, the ball goes into the high post to Sherrill, and he immediately tries to get it in the low post to Melvin. I think Herb Sendak would like him to get the ball inside with a little bit more frequency before they shoot that perimeter jump shot.
State's now gone almost 4 minutes without scoring. Shooting 28%.
Thus far, Citadel doing a nice job cutting down on the penetration.
Here's Grundy.
That's a tough shot. Very tough shot.
Eftimov with a follow, and Elian Eftimov, the freshman from Winston-Salem.
And that has been the best NC State offense so far.
Dan, you were talking about Washburn. This is a player that really has come up big in big games. A year ago, had a double-double against Clemson, 23 against South Carolina. He's come to play tonight, number 54 for the Citadel.
That time Melvin did a much better job using his body to get position. Now the battle's going on inside for those offensive rebounds. This is a tough shot by Grundy, but you notice number 3, Eftimov, nobody blocks him out in there, and he uses his body to get pretty good position. Sometimes in the zone, you lose track of the guy you're supposed to block out.
Here's Puckett. It rattles in and out. Quickly down NC State. Scooter Sherrill. Here's Eftimov to Crawford in the game. Clifford Crawford.
Now that's a much better three-point attempt, and not just because it went in the basket, but because they moved the ball effectively. Crawford was able to shoot that sort of in motion rather than standing still. And that's a big turnaround. The Citadel was one that almost went in and they missed. And then NC State with the 3.
Citadel's had trouble finding the hole. Driving and missing is Travis Cantrell. Just under 10 minutes to play first half. NC State out in front, 14-9. NC State not shooting it well at all, but the Citadel's also cooled off later. Here's Eftimov.
When you shoot the ball early in the shot clock, and there's a push on Eftimov, but when you shoot the ball early in the shot clock without making the defense move, if you make the shot, fine, but if you miss it, the defense is standing there in great rebounding position.
Dan, Eftimov has maybe the strangest nickname on this team. They call him Shoosh. I asked several people why, and they said, we don't know, that's just his name. Maybe that's the sound of the ball going through the basket. Shoosh. I don't know, but that's Eftimov's nickname on this team. Scooter Sherrill.
I think it ought to be illegal to have a nickname that nobody can explain.
I agree with that.
Citadel staying in that zone.
And Archie Miller will bust in a hurry. Oh, it's rattled out. Washburn strong for the rebound. Clyde Wormley now in the game for the Citadel, number 30. That's Wormley at the top of the key. Milford called for steps, and again Miller playing strong defense.
Milford really having a lot of problems with Archie Miller.
Threes, well, neither team shooting lights out. The Citadel's only taken 3, but NC State has not been shy, as you saw. Here's Eftimov, the runner.
And that's a nice job with penetration to the basket. Try to get inside that zone with the dribble or the pass, and that creates some opportunities.
Eftimov with 5 points now off the bench for NC State. Puckett. And Eftimov knocked that away. Here's Miller. Archie Miller will go to the foul line after he's fouled by Alan Puckett.
Archer's a pretty good free throw shooter, but he's mainly an outside kind of shooter, and everybody tries real hard not to foul three-point shooting.
Josh Powell gets a nice hand, as does Elian Eftimov, who comes out. Now Miller will go out. Archie Miller with 5 points. Anthony Grundy, you see him to replace him. Also on the floor for NC State, Levi Watkins for the first time, number 21.
Well, the Citadel in a little bit of a tough situation right here. They had the game tied at 9, but they haven't really been able to get into any sort of an offensive rhythm. NC State's defense has been very, very good the last few possessions.
NC State still in that man-to-man, playing tough defense. And again, Travis Cantrell can't hit it.
That's a tough shot. Oh, nice job inside once again.
Joseph leads the break. He'll take the shot. He's fouled. And it goes.
Boy, and that's a big basket. Montbellet doing a nice job for the Citadel with the block shot, and then the Bulldogs not afraid to run when they have the good opportunity.
Max Montbellet, who just came in, the native of Africa. Dan, before that bucket, the Citadel gone 5 minutes without scoring.
Part of the problem was that they turned it over a few times, and it's tough to score if you're not going to shoot it. Now what? Well, Montbellet steps into the lane.
Oh, a lane violation on the part of the Citadel, but at least they have broken a 5-minute scoring drought. It's now a 7-point NC State lead, 7:55 to play, first half.
North Carolina State leads 18-11, and the Wolfpack trying to solve this zone. Watch Eftimov, because he catches the ball, the fake, gets the defender out of position, and then Eftimov is able to drive to the basket, makes a tough shot. But the key there, Mike, is that fake draws the defense, and then Eftimov penetrates that zone. You can't beat a zone just by passing the ball around the outside. You've got to get inside it either with the dribble or with the pass, and Eftimov did it with the dribble that time.
And if that last name sounds a bit familiar to you, yep, his brother was Vasco, who played at North Carolina. Levi Watkins.
Watkins was the only guy in there who didn't give up on that ball, and as a result, he gets it back. Another opportunity that the Citadel loses because they just didn't go after the ball very hard. Staying in that zone.
Citadel with 8 turnovers. Nice ball movement. Here's Watkins. Shot is too strong. Eric Wilson down with it for the Citadel. Pretty fast. And he's fouled by Clifford Crawford.
That was actually a nice job by North Carolina State in the transition defense. The Citadel actually has an advantage, but the NC State runs pretty well. Watkins in particular follows the play, doesn't get, so now he's got to go to the line and make 2, and he makes 1.
Milford for that starting point guard job. He had great presence down the stretch in the win over Flagler, and that game was very much in doubt in the final minutes.
Citadel coach Pat Dennis real concerned about his ability to protect the ball at the point guard spot.
Julius Hodge with a
sitting there tonight by Julius Hodge.
Coast Conference this past year, and certainly something NC State fans are very excited about, watching his development. Still find it amazing, Dan, that 7 players on this team are true or redshirt freshmen. A lot of youth. Good defense by the freshman Hodge. And that's Grundy's second personal. Hodge played great defense.
Citadel really struggling trying to handle the ball. And the interesting thing, it hasn't been against the press. It's been against that set half-court defense that they've struggled.
Joseph. Travis Cantrell. This is Eric Wilson.
Well, Cantrell hit that early 3, but that certainly got the attention of the Wolfpack. Cantrell hadn't been open since.
Wilson is strong. Nice move by Joseph inside. Michael Joseph has 4, and it's a 5-point game.
Good battle on the inside by the Citadel. That's their first offensive rebound, and they convert it.
Clifford Crawford running the NC State offense. This is Crawford inside off the nice pass from Hodge.
Nice cut, good pass. We've seen the penetration with the dribble. That time we saw the penetration with the pass.
Clifford Crawford with 5.
Joseph has been the guy who's sort of been the anchor back there handling the ball for the Citadel.
The defensive quickness of NC State has really bothered the Citadel on offense.
And there's that quickness you're talking about again. Crawford and Watkins cutting off the play.
Nice pass. Crawford to Grundy. Can't finish. And down with it is Washburn for the Citadel.
Washburn has been impressive in this first half.
Wilson almost walked. Levi Watkins will be called for the foul. Watkins, the freshman from Rockville, Maryland. There's Pat Dennis.
And as we take a look, here comes Clifford Crawford just wandering down the middle of that zone. That was an excellent pass, and he did a nice job sidestepping Washburn to get to the goal. A lot of weapons on this NC State team. They've just got to figure out how to piece them all together.
Archie Miller back in along with Josh Powell. Clifford Crawford has seen a lot of minutes in this first half. Now here's a guy who in the first couple of games hasn't gotten the minutes that maybe he had a year ago and has really stepped up his game a bit tonight.
Well, I think that's the way it's going to be for this NC State team. They've got so many guys who can play that you might play 20 minutes one game and 5 minutes the next game, and it's important that the Wolfpack players be able to deal with that.
Good defensive play by Wilson.
Oh, that's a nice play by Joseph.
Here's Joseph. Eric Wilson started that. Michael Joseph was there, and the quickness of the Citadel.
And the Citadel changing the zone look.
Back to a three-point game.
They've attacked the ball sometimes, other times they haven't.
And again, good defense. Joseph this time. Here comes Eric Wilson.
A couple of good defensive possessions by Joseph. 2 steals and 2 possessions.
Michael Joseph, late minute add to the starting lineup. Cantrell behind the 3. I think yes. Trying to get those feet.
Right in the corner of your screen will be Michael Joseph. And as the defense tries to pass the ball, Wilson gets the tip and Joseph runs in and tips the ball ahead. Very nice play. Tips it to himself for the basket.
NC State's offense not near as in sync as it was early, but that'll change you around in a hurry. Archie Miller.
That'll help your sync.
He's got 8. Dan, you talked about this in the open, and that we can talk about these young players all night long, but when it comes down to it, it's that senior leadership from Archie Miller and Anthony Grundy that's really going to carry this team.
Well, you got to get some help from your veterans, and North Carolina State's veterans have played very well early in the season. Interestingly enough, Marcus Melvin has been very quiet on the offensive end tonight.
Here's Washburn over Melvin.
And that's another thing where Washburn has been pretty dominant down inside against Melvin. He's done about whatever he's wanted to do.
He's got 6 points. Melvin has not scored in this first half.
And it's interesting the Citadel has been able to play so well on the inside on the offensive end.
Crawford, that penetration you were talking about, Dan, and Josh Powell there, he's fouled. Foul will be on Cliff Washburn.
Zone defense tries to guard areas, not people, and when you drive past a couple guys on the perimeter, you force people to guard guys, and that's not what the zone is designed to do, and the foul results. And Washburn's fortunate that he was not called for an intentional foul right there. He came pretty close to wrapping his arms around Josh Powell.
So the freshman will step up to the line. 8 for 13 on the year, 62%.
And it's going to be an experimental process for Herb Sendek as the year goes on, trying to figure out who's going to play in what spots, in what situations.
Eftimon is back in. There is a lane violation. And on the alternating possession, it will go to the Citadel. Now the Citadel hanging tough, down by 4 to the Wolfpack.
Funny.
NC State by 4 in a hard-fought first half. And among those in the crowd for much of this first half has been the NC State football team. They just got up and left a moment ago. They're playing Ohio U at home to close out their season, and they'll be headed to a bowl game. Had a huge win over Florida State this year. Hey, for all of the latest news and notes on the ACC and football, hope you'll join Jamie Dukes and myself Monday night at 6:30 Eastern for ACC Live. We'll break down the Georgia Tech gridiron battle as well as Wake Forest drive to become bowl eligible. And we'll also get you updated on NCAA soccer, field hockey, and volleyball tournaments. And I understand that Dan Bonner might, there is a big rumor here, might even be making an appearance on ACC Live Monday night at 6:30.
You want people to watch your show, don't you? You better not advertise that. Man-to-man for the Wolfpack.
Citadel down 4.
And the defense on the perimeter by the Wolfpack has been very strong. Once the Citadel's been able to get the ball inside, they have had some success. And now we're going to get a foul called inside against the Wolfpack. Josh Powell called for the foul.
It's his first foul. Josh Powell and Elian Eftimov, two true freshmen. Well, down in the post.
Powell is in there at 210 pounds trying to guard Cliff Washburn, who's listed at 248 pounds. And that 248 pounds, as you look at number 54 in blue, that is all muscle.
Solid.
Look at this guy.
What do they call him in the media guide? They say he is the team's enforcer. And you know when somebody says you're the team's enforcer, watch out.
Well, now, that might be so. Maybe it just means he doesn't shave before the game.
Okay.
You know, it's hard to say. But this guy has really shown the ability to use his body with great effectiveness down on the inside. He has had an outstanding first half.
7 points for the senior from Shelby, North Carolina. Make it 8 as this is now a 2-point game.
And North Carolina State, their problem has not been on the defensive end. They have really struggled on the offensive end of the court. It's tough to be a good team when you struggle scoring.
Here's Hodge, the freshman. Just what Dan was talking about, penetrating that zone, but Hodge couldn't get the bucket to go. Michael Joseph on the other end. He's short. Cantrell with the ball fake. He's in amongst a lot of trees.
Couple of bad decisions. First by Hodge to try to get that shot to win the basket there. That wasn't a very good shot. And then the Citadel running down the court. Joseph taking the outside jumper. Not really a very good idea. Citadel doing a really nice job covering the perimeter. Guys out on the perimeter really hustling.
Here's Hodge. He'll take a deep 3, and he hit it. Julius Hodge has 5.
Boy, that was a big shot.
It's almost an NBA 3. Joseph.
Now, Joseph, you can look at him, number 22 in blue, and see he's really well built, too, and he's used that strength pretty effectively handling the ball. And Wilson's going to be called for an illegal screening foul.
Second foul on Eric Wilson, the sophomore from Omaha, Nebraska. There's number 44, Alan Puckett. Has not scored in this game, only had 2 in the opener against Blackler, but averaged in double figures a year ago, and they really need him to score.
Puckett's problem has been that the guy who started the game for him, Joseph, has been so important for the Citadel handling the pressure. When Puckett was in before, he missed a couple of shots, had a couple of turnovers. And in this type of a game, if Puckett is going to help the Citadel, he's going to have to be making some threes.
Josh Powell has been most impressive early in this season. 6'9". From Georgia, as we said, the Atlanta Tip-Off Club Player of the Year in high school in Georgia a year ago.
Now here's a little streak by the Wolfpack. The Citadel actually had the ball with a chance to tie, and they missed the shot, but now the Wolfpack has run off a couple of points in a row.
And are up by 7.
Boy, Crawford has such long arms. It is really tough to get the ball by him.
NC State really digging on defense.
Again, the defense on the ball has been outstanding. Citadel guards have very little time to find guys.
And there's the defense you were talking about, Clifford Crawford. Those long arms come up with a steal. Greg Jones is there for the Citadel.
And I'll tell you what, that play is made by Josh Powell. Greg Jones makes an outstanding play on the block, but Josh Powell, he could have stood back at half court and waited for the play to finish, figuring that Crawford's going to make the layup. But watch Powell, he takes off and he starts running. Now he's going to come into your screen. Jones with a great block, but there's Powell running. Wilson never sees him, and Puckett picks up the foul. That was just a great job. If you're number 11 in blue, you got to turn around, see if anybody's back there, and block them out.
Second foul on Alan Puckett. Powell with 4 rebounds and 4 points.
Wilson was watching, Powell was playing, and as a result, North Carolina State gets some free throws.
And a chance to add to their lead.
Lots of times good things happen to a basketball player who just hustles up and down the court. People talk about how a guy is always around the ball. Well, you're around the ball if you hustle to get there, and Powell certainly was that time.
Josh Powell 3 for 4 from the line. Elian Eftimov will be called for wrapping his arm around.
A little push by Eftimov.
We'll go down the other way and shoot it. Our next ACC men's basketball telecast is Sunday when the #1 ranked Duke Blue Devils play host to the Portland Pilots. Game time is set for 8 p.m. Eastern. Check your local listings for ACC men's basketball on your regional sports network.
And so now this is an important opportunity, I think, for the Citadel. They were down 25-23. North Carolina State has scored 6 in a row, and Montbellet is not really a great free throw shooter.
44% a year ago.
And look who has
Powell
the rebound.
double teamed.
And Herb Sendek calls timeout.
So NC State has now made a 2-point lead at 25-23. Now,
Mike, I'll tell you what, we talked before the game about the importance of the three-point shot for the Citadel. The Citadel can hang in close, I think, to NC State, with Washburn playing as NC State simply has not allowed them to do so.
Got a good look there at Cliff Washburn. There, the turnovers, the Citadel 12, NC State's 4.
Citadel out of that zone, back into a man-to-man.
Archie Miller working against Travis Cantrell. The points off, turnovers, big time in favor of NC State.
NC State taking a couple of seconds to recognize the defense.
Tough shot by Marcus Melvin. That's his first bucket of the game.
But again, another in-rhythm shot. They took their time recognizing the defense and ran their stuff very effectively against it.
NC State makes a living in a lot of games getting points off turnovers, Dan, and tonight has been no difference. Washburn move in the paint, and Josh Powell slaps it away.
And that's off Montbellet's leg, so Powell not only slaps it away with authority, but NC State's going to get the ball back. One of the few times in the first half that Melvin has gotten some help against Washburn. Powell just laying in wait underneath the basket. Washburn actually lost control of that ball. That's what you call a swat.
Final seconds of the first half, and NC State has opened up a 10-point margin.
Remember, the Citadel had the ball down 25-23 with a chance to tie, and they missed the shot, and they have not scored since.
And I jinxed the heck out of it. Clock winding down, and Powell will take it. It's the end of the first half, and NC State, a late half flurry, has jumped out to a 10-point lead. It was a 2-point game, 25-23. It is now a 10-point margin.
Times that we've seen him this year, really able to attack the basket. The penetration by Miller draws the defense. Melvin, recognizing that his man's out of position, just blows by Washburn right to the goal.
Marcus Melvin showing a little quickness there.
Talked about that before the game. This is a kid who can get out there, and when he forces the other team's big guys to come out and guard him, he's got the quickness to go around.
Was Marcus Melvin's 3rd point of the game. He's got 4, and it's been held fairly silent. Still, it's a 12-point Wolfpack lead. Big possession coming up for the Citadel. Here's Michael Joseph taking it all the way in. Nice drive.
Joseph has played well. He has been the guy that's handled the pressure when they've handled it.
Got 8. On the back, Josh Powell. Dan, you talked about that earlier, that sometimes Josh Powell a little bit too aggressive.
He just goes after the basketball, and sometimes that's going to work, and sometimes it doesn't. That time, Jones blocked him out. When you block out a guy who just goes after the ball, you're going to get some fouls against him.
Josh Powell has 2 on the game. Eric Wilson, who's gone most of the way at point. Here's Cantrell, who has 1 3-pointer. Got the opening bucket of the game and hasn't scored since.
Grundy's guarding him, and it's very difficult for anybody to have a big offensive game with Anthony Grundy on you. Look at Grundy. Good pressure on the ball, those long arms, making it tough to shoot. Good quick feet. It's hard to drive around.
Wilson on Miller. Powell blocked it, but Miller's going to be called for the foul, his second. You talked about Anthony Grundy and his defense. Anthony Grundy listed at 6'3" and has a 6'6" reach. Really has some long arms, Dan.
That's very interesting how people determine that. 6'6" reach.
Got out there and measured.
Yeah, okay. I tell you what, I'm 6'6", and I think he can reach further than I can.
Eric Wilson converts a couple of big free throws. He's got 6. And the Citadel hanging around.
Citadel in the man-to-man.
Miller works against Wilson. Melvin to Grundy. Now Grundy hasn't been lighting it up either. He's got 4 points in the game. Here's Grundy on the drive. Kicks it out to Melvin for 3. Marcus Melvin. Well, he did that against James Madison.
That was great ball movement, and then on the reverse pass from one side to the other, Grundy explodes to the basket, draws 4 defensive guys, and Melvin has a wide open one.
Not bad when your 6'8" post player can step out and knock down a 3. Washburn takes it against Powell. Josh Powell blocks it. Here comes State in transition. Grundy. And good defense by the Citadel. Again, Michael Joseph is there. Cantrell for 3. Here comes NC State again. Nice pass to Powell. Head fake. Did he get it? Yes. Josh Powell with his 9th point.
This is excellent discipline by Josh Powell. This is excellent discipline by Josh Powell to catch the ball, and rather than try to power it straight to the basket, sees the defender coming. Nice fake and draws the foul. That is a very, very good play.
Travis Cantrell called for the foul. It's his first. Number 44, Alan Puckett, back into the lineup for the Citadel. Michael Joseph gets a rest.
Keep in mind, Mike, that we talked about Alan Puckett, number 44. He's the guy who's about to move into 3rd place all time on the Citadel 3-point shooting list, and he just has not been able to get it going tonight.
Only took 2 shots in the first game against Flagler and has not scored in the game here tonight. 15:48 left to play in Raleigh. NC State out in front of the Citadel, 43-29. We'll be back. And we welcome you back to Raleigh, and we want to welcome a special guest over to our broadcast position, Les Robinson, who has held jobs at both of these schools. Basketball coach at the Citadel first, basketball coach at NC State, athletic director at NC State, and now the athletic director back down in Charleston at the Citadel.
My children ask me when I grow up what I want to be. I haven't decided yet.
How are you enjoying life in Charleston?
Enjoying it very much, Mike. It's a great place to work and a great school, and I'm proud to be a part of it, as I was the entire time I was at NC State.
Also got to be pretty proud of this basketball program. Really the surprise of the Southern Conference a year ago, finishing second place in the South and with 16 wins and promise of a good season this year.
Pat's been building for a long time, and last year was a culmination. We have everyone back but a point guard this year. And once we get that position established, I think we'll be in good shape.
That young man has certainly had a lot of offense for the Citadel. Travis Cantrell with now 5 points in the game.
His equipment manager at NC State, by the way.
So there's a lot of ties.
A lot of ties here. He came to my camp when I was a coach at NC State.
So you taught him to shoot that three.
Well, I helped the Citadel recruiting, believe it or not. I don't think that's a violation. I was an AD here at the time.
Cantrell a little short with that three-point attempt. Followed by Cryonis. Coach,
talking about Cantrell, and this is really a nice play, Leslie. Out to Cantrell, and then as he passes the ball, just a little give and go. That's a very nice play. Cantrell's dad is a basketball coach. In fact, he coaches both the girls and the boys basketball team at Floyd County High School.
He's an outstanding coach, and matter of fact, he used to bring his team to my camp at East Tennessee State, our team camp, and that's when I first got to know Travis. He was just a little kid then. That was back in the late 80s, and but I knew his father, and he's a fine man, an outstanding coach.
Well, the foul then was on Cliff Washburn. That's his third. And we've talked about it. Cliff Washburn really comes to play in these kind of games. Had 17 points and 9 boards in the opener, but he's going to be a strong presence in the Southern Conference and there in the middle.
I think he will. And this team last year, now y'all might not know this, but played South Carolina the wire. It took a shot on the buzzer that could have won it. Played Clemson very well. I had to see that game. So this is a veteran team here today.
Washburn had big games in both of those. Double-double against Clemson and 23 points against South Carolina. And Pat Dennis calls timeout, 30-second timeout. 14:25 to play. 43-21, the Pack by 12. We'll be back in Raleigh at the Entertainment Sports Arena in a moment.
Next.
43-21, NC State out in front of the Citadel. Mike Hogwood, Dan Bonner, and our special guest, Les Robinson. Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
Very nice one, Mike. Sure did. We had all the family here in Raleigh and had a great time.
You still have a lot of ties here in the Raleigh area, don't you?
Oh, certainly do. Of course, a daughter and son-in-law that live here, but an awful lot of friends, teammates. Smee York, got with him a couple times. Former mayor here in Raleigh. A lot of wonderful people here.
And I know you enjoyed your time at NC State, but the Citadel, too, was a special place. And I know your job now as athletic director has got to be something special for you.
It is. That's where we raised our family. It's just great to have two places we love so much. And you can always go back to each one of them. And I feel very blessed to have worked at the places I have and to have been invited back to the places I've been invited back to.
Well, that's the key. If they like you, they invite you back.
Yeah, I've always been able to come back in the front gate. So,
Les, Dan and I have been talking about all these surprises at the beginning of the season and upsets that we've been seeing. What do you attribute all this to?
Well, we've been saying it for years, but the reduction in scholarships to 13 is a key. You know, when I came to college at NC State in 1960, you had 24 and probably 120 Division I schools. Now there's 318 Division I schools, and they're going to give 13 grants. So you know, there's going to be more and more Gonzagos and Valpos and Ball States as time goes on, and upsets from Southern Conference schools, and it's just going to happen because there's so much talent out there and it's getting distributed. Plus the pro thing has really changed things a lot too.
Neither team able to score on last couple of trips down the floor.
But those are the kind of shots I think that the Citadel has to take. These three-pointers, even early in the shot clock. And there's Puckett knocking it down. And the Bulldogs have been waiting for that all night long.
All season long. That's his first three.
Well, of course, the season's not very old yet.
2 games.
But back when I was coaching the Citadel, we had a little advantage playing the States and the Carolinas. Coach Smith and I were talking about earlier this week. There was no clock, so we didn't ever have to shoot. And we didn't shoot very often, except layups and free throws. Now, the coach doesn't have that advantage. The clock changed things since that famous day in Virginia.
Offensive foul called on Levi Watkins.
And this is good ball movement. Again, you notice Crawford just now coming, or excuse me, Powell just now coming back into the play, so the defense isn't set, and good ball movement finds the open man. It's a lot easier to play 5-on-4 than it is 5-on-5, and Powell just didn't get back quickly enough.
Again, a little pressure from NC State. Michael Joseph fouled by Clifford Crawford.
And I continue to be impressed with the strength that Joseph has shown handling the ball. They can't take it from him because they can't push him around. Les, he's a big, strong guy.
Yes, he is. He's gotten stronger since last year. He spent some time in the weight room. It's showing up this year, Dan.
Wolfpack into man-to-man.
Cryonis. Now Michael Joseph, number 22 in blue. Double teamed, and again he's fouled by Clifford Crawford. It'll be Crawford's third personal.
Mike, I tell you what, though, the referee is not going to call a foul on that play if Joseph just simply lets Crawford take the ball. But Joseph feels the contact, and he's tough with the ball, and you have to have some strength to do that. That's just a real good play.
Michael Joseph getting the start tonight. And well, you hit one and start going.
He's a designated shooter.
Look how quickly he sets himself. He's squaring up while he's turning. Those feet bounce once and up he goes. That is a very, very impressive shot. Now look at it right here, Mike. He's squaring up while he's in the air, catching the ball and buries the thing. Give his teammates some credit too. There's a couple of nice screens out there, and he used them effectively. Now back to the zone, and then right away they show the zone and drop into the man-to-man.
Eftimov back in the lineup for NC State. This is Eftimov.
That's just a great look by Grundy.
6 points for Elion Eftimov, the freshman from Winston-Salem. Joseph running the offense with effectiveness. There's Puckett.
Let's see if they can get Cantrell open for a couple of threes.
Here's Joseph inside.
Mike, and I don't want to keep beating this to death, but he caught that ball, bounced off a couple of guys in there. Another example of his strength.
And Dan, you can almost sense a renewed spirit and energy on the part of the Citadel after those threes. Clifford Crawford inside. Nice pass, Marcus Melvin.
Boy, that was pretty. That's the way you like to see movement of the ball.
9 points now for Melvin. Here's Cantrell.
Tough shot. Tough shot.
Short, and Melvin is down with it. Grundy wanted Melvin, and it is going to be over and back. 10:49 to play. The Citadel making a game of it. 47-39, an 8-point Wolfpack lead. We'll be back. Doing well, and really a great basketball coach, Dan.
Great basketball coach and one of the really classy guys in athletics.
The Citadel down 8. Here's Joseph. He's played well. Joseph strong with that. Melvin is down with it for the Wolfpack. Big rebound for Marcus Melvin.
Well, we've talked about the strength of Joseph, and that time the strength didn't really serve him well. Only 6'4", battling against bigger guys inside, wasn't able to get it done that time.
Eftimov is strong. Tipped the offensive rebound to Melvin, and he's fouled.
Mike, it's funny, every time NC State has seemed to need a spurt, the offensive rebounds have figured into it as a big factor. And once again, they start hammering the offensive boards for opportunities.
Foul was on Michael Joseph, his first. Marcus Melvin with a chance to put that lead back up to double digits, but he rattles first free throw out. Melvin is 75% free throw shooter on the season, and Joseph will come out.
Joseph, Cantrell, and Washburn, those have been 3 pretty key guys for the Citadel tonight, so I think you're in an important stretch here now for the Bulldogs.
Clyde Wormley is among those coming back in. Max Mombalay is also in for the Citadel. Alan Puckett hit a couple of big threes. This is Wormley. Puckett now being guarded by Grundy. Miller is on Eric Wilson.
Wilson not the shooter that Cantrell is. Shot clock at 10.
Citadel sensing an important possession and warmly misses everything. Not a good possession for the Citadel. Anthony Grundy's open for three.
Boy, he hadn't been able to buy one from out there.
Here's Warmly. Hasn't scored in the game.
Oh, that is
oh my God.
You got to be kidding.
I thought Alan Puckett was almost over here with us.
Wow. Well, Puckett needs to do what we saw him do a couple times earlier. Use some screens and get himself open for a good look.
Sherrill is strong, and it's Puckett with the rebound. Eftimov will be called for the foul. That'll be his third.
That's a nice job blocking out by Puckett. Puckett only 6'3", Eftimov 6'8".
There's a look at Josh Powell coming back, the freshman who's had a very, very strong game here tonight. 9 points. Still an 8-point game, Dan.
Joseph and Cantrell back in. Joseph has been the guy who's really been able to handle this NC State defensive pressure.
Washburn to Wilson.
See, and that's where you miss a guy like Puckett. You'd like to be able to have Puckett be throwing the ball in there, and then when the defense drops in, NC State has done a nice job taking Washburn out of the game. He had a big first half, but we haven't heard from him since he hit for those 9 points early.
No points in the second half. Here's Melvin. 1-3 to his credit. Washburn, who stays in the game. Bad pass.
And he just fouled out.
You knew he had 4 fouls. He tried to hold back, but his instincts took over.
It's one of those situations where you have to know you got 4 and just step out of the guy's way. This is another long three-point shot, and the Citadel does a great job getting the ball. Washburn a little too anxious to get rid of it. Doesn't see Scooter Sherrill. That is an excellent play, and now Washburn just has to back off and doesn't do it.
Him. Scooter Sherrill knocks down the free throw for his first point.
And we got a violation on the inside. Cryonis stepped in early. You can see Joseph.
Lead to 10. Cryonis did a good job blocking out Melvin and tipping it over.
You can see why Cryonis stepped in early. He's afraid Melvin's going to get there. Jones is a guy who's had success a couple of times down on the inside. They've been able to get it into Jones against Powell is when Jones has had his success. Powell's blocked a couple of shots, but when he's been coming to help, not when he's been guarding the guy with the ball.
Citadel needs a bucket. Wilson against Miller. Joseph is back. Shot clock at 2. Shot was strong. There's Jones, strong for the rebound. Jones has had some nice moments in this game.
And there's another turnover.
Anthony Grundy.
Oh, great
pass. Miller.
And that's a heck of a reaction by Archie Miller.
Miller's open for 3. Marcus Melvin.
And that's a great decision to bring the ball back out. A lot of guys get the ball in there and just automatically put it up and they shoot a bad shot. That's a great decision to bring it out. Citadel back to the zone.
Inside to Josh Powell. Nice pass.
Boy, that was a perfect pass. Threw it into place where the only guy who could catch it was Powell.
Josh Powell's got 12. And NC State now out to a lead of 50 to 39.
Boy, Grundy is just all over the three-point shooters. With Puckett on the bench, Grundy's guarding Cantrell, and Cantrell can't even get a peek at the basket, much less a look.
Joseph, Cryonis, drives against Melvin, just threw it up there. Michael Michael Joseph will be with.
Zone defense, and Grundy just standing there and waits until Powell comes open, and that ball is thrown over the top of Greg Jones, just outside the reach of his fingertips and right to Josh Powell.
Anthony Grundy's shot has not been there tonight, but to his credit, he hasn't let that affect the other parts of his game.
And I think that's one of the things that you like to see out of your older guys. And Grundy, of course, the senior, and he's been around long enough to know that the ball's not going to be going in the basket every night. And so you've got to find other ways to help your team, and he has been outstanding on the defensive end this evening.
Only has 4 points, but he has come up with steals. And as you saw then, had a great pass. Scooter Sherrill knocks down 2. 6:40 left. Chrysler Dealers.
We talked before the game about the importance of the three-point basket to the Citadel. They have not had that many attempts, and I'll tell you what, NC State has done a great job limiting that part of the game. We talked about intensity and tempo for NC State. Josh Powell, 12 points, 7 rebounds, 3 block shots. That's a pretty intense game. And NC State has also forced 17 turnovers, 16 points as a result of those 17 turnovers.
Well, Josh Powell came to play tonight. NC State now on a 9-2 run. Cantrell trying to stop that run, and he's a little short.
The 9-2 run started after back-to-back threes by Puckett. Got the lead down to 6. But after that, the three-point basket has been shut off, and as a result, the Citadel has struggled.
Archie Miller, here's Grundy at the foul line, tries to go inside the foul again, and he's fouled this time.
Well, that's a great job. You just throw it up there. Powell's going to go get it, particularly with Washburn out of the game. Now that he's gone, all the guys from the Citadel are tall and skinny, just like Powell. Powell just with his arm up, and the ball just goes right over top. That's Mombalé, number 20 in blue. He steps out. There's nobody who really can guard him in there, and Powell catches the ball, draws the foul. Good pass inside.
Mombalé weighs about 205 pounds.
Not too many guys out there that Powell is going to outweigh, but he outweighs Mombalé.
Powell's now got 13 points.
He ball to Anthony Grundy in the high post. And so Mombalé took a step toward Grundy in the high post, and that enabled Powell to have enough room to catch that ball.
Powell showing nice touch from the foul line tonight.
This is a situation where the Wolfpack, with their intensity on the defensive end, have just worn the Citadel down.
Largest lead of the game at 15 is Mombalé. That's Mombalé's first bucket of the game.
The Bulldogs continue to battle, but again, it's going to be hard for them to come back in the game unless they get big offensive production here down the stretch from Cantrell and from Puckett, and NC State knows that, and they're all over those guys. Man-to-man.
NC State not in a big hurry. Shot clock down to 11. We'll reset it off the kick.
NC State does such a nice. All that means, very simply, is that you leave enough space in between one offensive player and another offensive player that everybody out there has room to maneuver. And North Carolina State doing a nice job getting good spacing on the court in their man-to-man offense.
Approaching the 5-minute mark in this basketball game. 13-point Wolfpack lead. Josh Powell, big story, the freshman from Georgia. Here's Powell inside, and Jones fouled him. Jones is another one that doesn't weigh a lot and is going to have trouble holding his own, it seems like, down there on the block. Our next ACC men's basketball telecast is Sunday when the #1 ranked Duke Blue Devils play host to the Portland Pilots. Game time is set for 8 o'clock Eastern. Check your local listings for ACC men's basketball on your regional sports network.
Of course, the Duke Blue Devils winning the tournament out in Maui for the 3rd time in their history, and now they'll have their first home game.
But what was interesting is that they were tested out in Maui.
Well, I think that's why you take your team out there. You know you're going to see some pretty good teams. And Seton Hall played very, very well. Very good guards, very experienced guards, and I thought they did a real nice job.
Mike Dunleavy, the MVP of that tournament in Maui, and it was...
Well, I think it's possible that Dunleavy is going to have a huge year for Duke. He's one of the most versatile players in college basketball. He's actually put on some weight. They say 20, 25 pounds from his physique last year. And it's not because he's been eating Twinkies. He's been in the weight room.
Several players been stronger for Duke. Here's Montbellet, his second straight bucket. It's Montbellet now with 4.
And again, you see the Citadel having some success when they attack Josh Powell. That time, Powell guarding Montbellet, and Montbellet able to get down, pin Powell behind him, and get the ball to the basket. Powell's been dangerous when he's been going to help somebody else. Has a couple of blocks that way.
Julius Hodge called his name a lot in the second half. Here's Melvin. Go! There's Julius Hodge. His first bucket of the second half. He's got 5 points.
Joseph just didn't finish the play. He had Hodge blocked out, and he sort of stopped, and Hodge never did.
You were right, Dan. Once they shut down those threes, the Citadel's offense has been able to run. There's Jones on the drive. Greg Jones has got 6 points.
Now you might say, wow, the Citadel's really starting to get something going, but again, they're scoring 2-point baskets. NC State really concentrating hard on shutting off the 3. Citadel can't beat you at this point with 2s.
There was that great play where they hit Grundy at the high post, and again, he dished it down low to Josh Powell, who will step back up to the free throw line.
Citadel cannot trade baskets with NC State at this point in the game, and that's what's going on. The pass inside to Grundy, he turns and just fires it down low. Powell actually sort of lost his footing a little bit, or he'd had a 3-point play. Boy, he catches the ball well inside.
Josh Powell may be one of the really fun stories to watch as we get into this ACC season.
Obviously the Metro Atlanta Player of the Year, so he was a very highly regarded recruit. But of all the freshmen, he was probably the least highly regarded, and he's been a very, very pleasant surprise for Herb Sendek and his staff.
The only player in the history of his high school, which was Riverdale High School in Georgia, to have his jersey retired. So he did put up some numbers in high school. Montbellet working against Powell. Puckett.
With Grundy out there with his hand up, Puckett is going to have a hard time getting through.
Yeah, Montbellet, good positioning by Josh Powell. Montbellet just
Montbellet is not the guy who you want to have the ball, catching the ball at the top of the key and driving to the basket.
So the foul on Max Montbellet. 3:13 to play. NC State out in front by 13 here in Raleigh. 58-45, the Pack over the Citadel. Hey fans, for all the latest news and notes from around the ACC, hope you'll join Jamie Dukes and myself Monday night at 6:30 for ACC Live. Jamie and I will break down the Georgia Tech gridiron battle as well as Wake Forest drive to become bowl eligible. We'll also get you updated on the NCAA soccer, field hockey, and volleyball tournaments. All that and more Monday night at 6:30 only on ACC Live. A lot of hoops news as well. NC State trying to start this season 5-0.
Citadel now in a situation where they've got to try to create some turnovers and then get down and score quickly. There's Carolina State. You don't want to lose your aggressiveness, but they can afford to take their time.
Josh Powell's had a great game. Gone for the travel. You would almost see that in his eyes, Dan, when he had that ball back in the basket, that he was going to be making a move on Jones.
And it wasn't the travel, it was the decision to take the ball to the basket in that situation. Pass it to somebody else, cut to the goal.
Well, he made that decision, I think, as soon as he thought it.
Absolutely.
Approaching the 2.5-minute mark. Here's Wombly.
And you see Citadel really concentrating on trying to get the 3, and NC State concentrating on trying to prevent them.
Archie Miller called for the foul. I called Archie Miller's name in this second half. He hasn't scored, but Archie Miller has been a presence defensively for NC State.
Not only has he been a presence defensively, but he's really entertaining to watch on the offensive end, even when he doesn't have the ball, because he's out there telling everybody where to go.
And do you know that in the media guide, they have a questionnaire that each student athlete has to fill out. Every single player on NC State's team says who is the most likely person to become a head coach. They all answered Archie Miller. Every one of them.
Now, I really enjoy watching this young man play. And as I say, even when he doesn't have the ball, he's over in the corner and he's yelling out the plays.
Cantrell makes it an 11-point game. There's a long pass to Miller. Can he save it? No. Nice effort. It is applauded.
Now, and he also made a very smart play right there, Mike. He is going to be able to get this ball, and he has the opportunity to just throw it back over his shoulder and throw it inbounds. But watch, he doesn't. He just takes the ball, carries it right out of bounds. Very fortunately, he wasn't hurt. But the last thing you want to do is just take the ball and throw it back over your head inbounds if you don't know who you're throwing it to. So that's a good play by Arch to not do that. And there's a steal by Grundy.
Anthony Grundy's long arms just came up with the basketball. And here comes NC State. I don't know if his reach is 6'6", Anthony Grundy, but I'll tell you this, he does have long arms. And boy, is ineffective on defense.
No matter what his reach is, no matter how long or short his arms happen to be, the key to Anthony Grundy is he uses his physical skills very well on the defensive end. He's very intense on the defensive end of the court, moves his feet very well, gets himself in good position.
Archie Madison, he had 9 assists and no turnovers. Over his last 2 games, he's had 14 assists.
Well, it's been a different kind of game. Citadel has actually done a nice job preventing North Carolina State from getting out on the break.
Here's Wormley. Julius Hodge with some nice defense, the freshman. Under 2 minutes to play. Miller to Grundy. Anthony Grundy knocked it out of bounds. Won 16 games. They've got 4 starters back from that team. It's time for second place in the Southern Division of the Southern Conference. Picked in the preseason polls to finish 4th in that division.
Well, it looks like they've got to get this problem at point guard straightened out. That they've got a lot of weapons out there, experienced players. And Joseph hits the 3, and I'm telling you what, I don't know that Joseph, and this is what the Bulldogs have been looking for. Ball movement that results in a 3-point basket. Nobody anywhere close to Joseph, and he just steps up and knocks it down.
That's an impressive looking shot.
Yes, it is, and it's a 10-point game. They need a couple more of those threes to get a steal and another 3, and suddenly it becomes very interesting. Nice job.
Now, this young season.
If you're the Bulldogs, what you have to do at this point is you go for the steal, and if you don't get the steal, you foul. It's not a good strategy, but it's about the only one left to you.
Grundy inbounds against pressure. Here's Hodge.
They're trying to foul him. They need to try a little harder. I think Hodge is a guy that I'd have stuck on the free throw line.
Here's Grundy. Hodge is open, top of the key. Montbellet down with it for the Citadel.
You don't have a lot of time to waste. You got to get down and get a shot.
Cantrell.
Offensive foul. I think they call it on Joseph. No, they call it on Cantrell.
Cantrell's called for his second foul.
And that is another example of the defensive pressure that North Carolina State has been able to exert. There's Grundy again. Grundy right on him. Cantrell has to push him away.
10-point game, under a minute left. Miller. Citadel has to foul now.
It's really not much point in fouling now. There's only 45 seconds left in the game.
Miller misses the layup. I'll be honest with you, I almost disagree with that a little bit, because there you go, Allen Puckett hits a 3, and if they'd have
as soon as NC State throws the ball inbounds, and if you're not going to do that, then you can't foul late in the clock. You either get it early or not at all, and they elected to do the State. Maybe a little weakness that they have. The Citadel was able to get the ball inside effectively early in the game.
And there's the foul early that we were, and as Mr. Bonner says, it's a little bit too late with 15.6 seconds left.
Don't really have enough time to go down, and if Miller goes to the line and makes 2 and you go down and hit a 3 right away, it's going to take 4 or 5 seconds and you'll have chopped 1 point off the lead. If you're going to start this trying to trade their 2 for your 3, you really have to start, you know, 2 minutes, minute and a half anyhow left in the game.
And it is almost baffling, even though there's 50 seconds left, that you're not going to foul, and now all of a sudden 15.6 you go back and do it. Archie Miller nails.
Well, now keep in mind that the strategy may have been something entirely different than what we're talking about here. All we're talking about is the result, not what they were supposed to do.
12 points now for Archie Miller. Cantrell throws up a prayer. Grundy is there, and he's going to be fouled by Jones.
I see now Pat Dennis is over on the bench. He's really upset with his players. He does not.
8 seconds left, and some of the crowd starts to head home here. Grundy with only 4 points, had 24 points against James Madison.
Those numbers there have nothing whatever to do with his value to this team tonight. Just an outstanding job defensively.
Defense he's played has been outstanding. Final seconds winding down. NC State will win this game and go to 5-0.
Grundy got his mitts on that one, wasn't able to stay in bounds. So Grundy just doesn't stop. He knows they want to throw all the bucket for a 3, and he's not going to let him have one.
And Cantrell's 3 at the end of the game. A 10-point win over the Citadel, 63-53. The Citadel, though, is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the Southern Conference this year. We'll be back to Raleigh in just a moment. I'm Mike Hogwood saying so long from Raleigh, where the final score is the Citadel 53. NC State wins by 10. They have 63. Our next ACC men's basketball telecast is Sunday night when #1 Duke plays host to the Portland Pilots. Game time is set for 8 o'clock Eastern. Check your local listings for ACC men's basketball on your regional sports network. You've been watching ACC men's basketball on your regional sports network. So long from Raleigh.